It's just before 8:30 in the morning on the 25th of September 2023 on a quiet county road in southern Minnesota. 4 kids are riding to school the way kids in this part of Fillmore County have ridden to school for generations in a horse-drawn buggy, moving along at maybe 10 miles an hour. Nothing unusual about the morning at all. There are literally road signs out here warning drivers to watch for exactly this. Everybody who lives around here knows the buggies are on this road. Everybody except, apparently, the woman about to come around the bend behind them doing 70. Her name is Samantha Jo Peterson. She's 35. She works at a Hy-Vee grocery store in town. And by 8 that morning, she's already high on meth. No license that's actually valid, it's expired, no insurance either. She gets behind the wheel of her silver Toyota 4Runner anyway, and she's flying down a road she has no business flying down. Distracted, high, not watching for anything, let alone a buggy going a fraction of her speed. She doesn't see it until it's too late to matter. She plows into the back of it going 70. The buggy doesn't stand a chance against a few thousand pounds of SUV. It's destroyed instantly. 2 of the 4 children inside, 11-year-old Irma Miller and her 7-year-old sister Wilma, don't survive. Their siblings, 13-year-old Rose and 9-year-old Alan, are rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. Even the horse doesn't make it. Samantha gets out of her car. She looks at what she's just done. And according to everything that happened in the minutes after, her first instinct isn't panic and it isn't grief. It's damage control. Because Samantha happens to have something most people in her position wouldn't. An identical twin sister, Sarah Beth Peterson. Same face, same voice. Genetically about as close to a copy of herself as a human being can have. And within minutes of the crash before police have even arrived, Samantha's already on the phone with her, laying out a plan that sounds like something out of a bad movie. Come to the scene, swap clothes with me, and tell them you were driving. Here's the detail that makes this less of an impulsive decision and more of a calculated one. Sarah wasn't some random accomplice being talked into something. She had her own criminal history, including a prior conviction for conspiracy to distribute meth that had landed her in prison. And while she was locked up, it was Samantha who looked after her kids. So when Samantha called asking for a favor this enormous, Sarah didn't hesitate long. She owed her one, and this was apparently how she chose to pay it back. Sarah drives to the scene before police get there. The 2 of them swap clothes right there near the wreckage. By the time officers pull up, it's Sarah standing at the scene, telling them with a straight face that she was the one driving, and she's convincing. She passes a field sobriety test easily, because of course she does, she's stone sober. She just witnessed a devastating crash she wasn't actually involved in, and she plays the part well enough that an officer puts her in the back of his squad car to take her official statement. He clips a digital recorder to catch it. She tells him the buggy just came out of nowhere, gives her account of a crash she didn't cause, and he steps out of the car afterward to go compare notes with the other officers on scene. He leaves the recorder running. That's the mistake that ends up cracking the whole thing open, because while he's gone, Samantha walks up to the car to check in with her sister, and neither of them realizes the recorder is still capturing every word. At one point, Sarah gets cocky enough to say, almost gloating, there's no way they would ever know the difference between the 2 of us. For a moment, she's not wrong. Officers on scene don't have any obvious reason to doubt her. The story holds, it looks horrifyingly like it might actually work. Back at the station, someone finally plays that recording all the way through. And that line lands differently the second time, not like an innocent aside, but like something a person says when they know exactly what they're covering for. It's enough to make investigators suspicious that these 2 women just switched places in front of them. But suspicion isn't proof, and this is where the case gets genuinely tricky in a way most crimes never do. Identical twins share nearly indistinguishable DNA. Any competent defense attorney could stand in front of a jury and argue reasonable doubt using the twin defense, and it would actually hold up. Police can't move on a hunch here. They need something airtight, so they keep digging, and the evidence starts arriving from several directions at once. First, investigators go to the Hy-Vee, where both sisters work, and start interviewing employees. The store's HR manager tells them something that changes everything. Right after the crash, Samantha had called or texted her, and in that conversation, admitted the whole thing. That she'd hit the buggy, that kids had died, that it was her behind the wheel. Then comes the search warrant for Samantha's phone. Investigators find she'd searched practically in real time. Things like what happens if you get in an accident with an Amish buggy and kill 2 people, and whether hitting a buggy and killing 2 people means prison time. Not exactly the search history of someone who believes they're innocent. They also find a text exchange with a friend. The friend, having heard the news, texts Samantha something like, "Oh my God, Did you hear some Amish kids were killed today? Samantha texts back that she doesn't think the friend realizes she's the one who did it. The friend, confused, asks what she means. Samantha spells it out plainly that she hit the buggy, killed 2 kids, and had her twin come switch places with her so she wouldn't go to prison. In writing, to a friend, after the fact. And then there's a detail that never made it into most retellings of this case, and it might be the most human piece of the entire story. It wasn't police cleverness alone that eventually cracked things wide open. Sarah's own 13-year-old daughter told a school social worker that her mom hadn't actually been the one driving that day, that she'd driven to the scene afterward. The social worker, believing the girl might never bring it up to police directly, reported the conversation up the chain. A kid, without fully realizing what she was doing, helped unravel her own mother's cover story. Add a blood test that comes back positive for meth, amphetamine, and THC, and investigators have more than enough. Both sisters are arrested. Now, here's the part that surprises people. This case didn't wrap up fast, not even close. It took almost 2 years to actually go anywhere near a courtroom. Sarah was the first to fold. Early 2025, she pleads guilty to 2 counts of aiding and abetting criminal vehicular operation. Prosecutors dropped 14 other felony charges as part of the deal, which sounds like a win until you hear the terms. 90 days in jail, served on work release so she can keep her job, 4 years of probation after that, and hanging over her the whole time, a 33-month prison sentence that stays frozen, not gone, just waiting. 1 violation and it activates. Samantha, though, she held out. For nearly 2 full years, she let this thing sit unresolved. It's not until mid-2025 that she finally stands up in court and says it plainly. Yes, she was high on meth. Yes, she was the one behind the wheel. Yes, this was her doing from the very first second. 4 years in state prison. That's what 2 years of denial eventually cost her. So 2 sisters end up walking away with 2 completely different outcomes tied to one decision they made together in the chaos right after the crash. If stories like this keep pulling you in the ones where the cover-up ends up more revealing than the crime itself, subscribe, because there's always another one.